I remember the very first time I stepped into a Judo mat. I was not even 4 years old, full of nerves, and I had no idea that this moment would change my whole life. Like every kid, my goal was to be a champion, or to be the strongest in my school. During all my life, I trained hard, I did my best, but I could never get higher than the national level in France. I'm gonna answer the question why I do this project, because it's a question that many people ask me actually. And you can see that it's a different setup here. Actually, I'm in France, in my room right now, so you can see some of the stuff that I bring from travel. You normally don't see what's behind the scene, what's my home, what's my family and stuff, because I want to keep those things private. But if you like those kind of video, more behind the scene, I will not show my family for sure. But if you want to know more things, I could do that in the future, because as you might know already, I will be back more often in Europe. But very good news is that I finally got an agreement, let's say, with different federations, and I'm going very soon, actually in 3 days, to Czech Republic first, and then I will go after that to Austria, so things looking great. And also next country after that might be Russia, so a lot of things to see after that video. I quickly understood that to be a champion you have to sacrifice pretty much everything, but I knew that I needed to get my degree. So at some point I left high-level training to focus on studies. And in the middle of those school year, I took a break to go in Japan to try to catch up with the level that I didn't had while I was studying. But in Japan, I've discovered a completely new approach to judo. To fund my trip, I was actually teaching over there, and I fell in love with it. My focus was still on competing, but then I broke my scaphoid in the hand. This wasn't my first injury. When I was 15 years old, I broke my ankle in 3 parts, an awful injury that took me more than 2 years to come back from. Over the years, I broke bones in my face, my shoulders, my fingers, and still I always pushed. My dreams of competing were starting to look complicated, but I still had a long year visa to finish in Japan. So because I couldn't focus to judo alone, I took some odd job in Japan. It was during that time that I was in a relationship with a girl from Indonesia, but living in the same country than me. And she gave me a test for travel. She took me to her country and we started to explore the world. At the same time, my Japanese sensei, Tsukino Takashi, was going to France every year to do seminars. I was so inspired by his way of life, traveling the world and teaching to sustain himself. He was my guide, both on and off the mats. After I got my degree in France, I felt ready to compete again. But just as I was getting back to a competitive level, COVID hit.
China has identified the cause of the mysterious new virus,
coronavirus.
It made it almost impossible to train for over a year in France, sealing the end of my dreams. It also made it impossible to go back to Japan, which ended my relationship. I was back in France, single, no proper job, and no more competitive dream to catch on. I was in a dark place a little bit. All my life, I've noticed how easy it is for the people around you, even the close one, to keep you in a small space, in a small sphere, to unintentionally, this is a hard word, to unintentionally discourage you from trying bigger things. I wasn't that great as a judo kid, but I fought my way into the high-level youth team as one of the weakest in the beginning and finished as one of the strongest. From the very beginning at regional level, then ending up at the national level. Same thing with school. People told me to not aim at universities, and actually I went to university and I failed my first year. But I ended up graduated with a master degree with honors of the jury. This project, it's exactly the same story. Thing is, I couldn't accept a normal life. I couldn't bear to settle for a job I didn't like, knowing that my father, as an example, suffered so much doing exactly the same thing, having a nice job actually, but a job that he didn't like. One day in the summer, at the family dinner, a friend of my parent was here and he mentioned that someone he knew just did a world tour and it was wonderful. And it sparked something inside me. Why not me? I heard all the doubts. You cannot do that, only rich people can do that. Judo isn't popular enough, it will not work. But here I am, 4 years later. I knew I couldn't just travel for fun. I had to find like a professional reason for it. So I linked it to judo. I decided that my goal would be to travel from France to Japan to try to go to the Olympic Games in Tokyo as a spectator. And because of my ecological values, I wanted to do that without flying. But the pandemic lasted longer than any of us would expect. And I missed the games in Tokyo. The good side of it was that it gave me more time to prepare for this project. And I could save money and time to make all the logistics ready. I feel like as a kid, judo gave me a boost in social life. It shaped me into the person that I am today. I saw that many of my friends from my childhood had a life far from the dreams that they had. And I feel like judo gave me a different path. Of course, it's not only judo, it's also the perspective of my education, my parents, and many things, but judo is a big part of it. When I was preparing and that I started to try to reach for sponsors and stuff, a bigger idea came out. Why not travel all the countries? I come from a modest family, I would say, and big money used to scare me a little bit. So I didn't want it to get big sponsors. I would feel guilty if people would invest a lot in my own goals. I wanted to give back to judo, and I believed that such an ambitious project could survive on its own. So I decided to fund it through small monthly donation instead, from people who want to support what I'm doing. It hasn't always been easy, but so far over 100 members participate in that project and thousands of people have been helping me. It's thanks to them that I can continue. It's thanks to you watching that I can continue. And after all those doubts, last year I ended up being a coach at the Olympic Games of Paris for Vanuatu. So why I do this? Because I couldn't accept a normal life. Because I can. Because you can. Everybody can. Because I couldn't lose judo either. And because I found a way to merge my thirst for discovery with a project that actually matters. This is my purpose, and it's my proof that you should always bet on yourself. No matter what anyone else says, no matter how many times you fall or break, you can always get back up. So this is a short video just to answer that question that I get so many times. But as I said, if you like those kind of behind the scene, I can do more actually. Let me know in the comment, contact me, and I will do more, for sure. Also, I could add things to that video as I just say that with what's coming in my mind right now, but there's always like more things. There is sometimes interviews where more things coming up, you know. So yeah, in 3 or 4 days I will be to Czech Republic, and really thankful to them and Austria that actually helped me a lot with the project. Otherwise it would just not be possible because I don't have the fund anymore to be able to go to those countries. But my goal for the next 6 or 12 months is to visit actually the last countries in Europe I didn't visit before. And so if you want to help me, you know what to do. Just have to comment or to join the Patreon or the TP. There is the link below on the description. It only costs something like $2 a month. So for those that participated, I'm forever grateful, and if you want to join, I will be grateful also. Until next time, I see you in the next video, probably in Czech Republic.